When I was a graduate student, I took this class in syntax, and finally, for the first time, grammar started making sense to me. And I finally realized that teaching students syntax taps into their intuitions about what's really going on with grammar. And I've been teaching 7th graders this way for several years. For this video, you'll be watching sophomores learning about syntax and morphology. Presenting students with a sentence that doesn't make sense and asking them to identify nouns, verbs, and adjectives proves to them that they already have intuitions about parts of speech based on syntax and morphology. The Dorbling Grubies frandled a bunkled slank. All right, now I would like you to identify the nouns in this sentence.
I feel so silly saying these words, but I said groovies, bonkled, and slank.
Okay, so you identified groovies, bonkled, and slank. Anybody want to add any words or subtract any words? Taryn?
Can you subtract bungled?
Okay, subtract
Oh, okay,
bonkled.
I didn't mean to do that one, I realized what I did wrong.
Okay, so we'll subtract bonkled from that.
Has ED in
Yeah.
It has an ED on the end of it. Okay, good.
I like the fact that these lessons are centered on the students rather than me explicitly telling them what parts of speech are. They figure it out for themselves.
Okay, Sammy, what'd you get?
Frondled,
All right. Anybody get anything else?
bonkled,
You think bonkle? Anybody want to counter that? Taryn?
It's an adverb because it's a bungled slank. So when the word's in front of a noun like that, it's usually an adjective.
It's an
Explaining the noun.
Okay, so you're remembering what we did last year. This phrase is a noun phrase, and therefore this is an adjective. Yeah, good job. Even though it has an ed ending, it can be an adjective. Good. All right. So we've identified this as an adjective. Let's put this in green just. What about Dorbling? What do you think the part of speech is for Dorbling?
Would it be an adjective?
An adjective, good. We're going to use the same words, but we're going to move them around.
By moving the words to different sentence positions, students figure out that part of speech is dependent on syntax.
I'll read the sentence to you. While she was Dorbling, she bonkled some slank groobies. So, could you please identify the nouns?
Well, Rudy's.
Anybody have anything else for nouns? Okay, very good. How about verbs? Karen?
Dorbling and bungled.
Anybody want to add or subtract?
Wouldn't was be a verb?
Yeah. And I'm going to put it in brackets like this. And I'm not going to tell you why yet. All right, so anybody want to identify the adjectives? Emma?
slank,
So what happened here?
Seems like we changed everything.
Yeah, why did we change everything? What happened between the two sentences?
The structure got switched around.
So they have a different part of speech. They have a different job,
Yeah.
basically.
This final sentence establishes a nice comparison so students see that part of speech is not static. He groovies on the weekends. So where is the verb in this one?
Groupies.
Groovies, good. But just to make sure we're all on the same page, what is weekends? What part of speech? Good. I then define morphology and syntax and ask students to figure out what qualities nouns have that are unique to nouns.
You can change the amounts and what it looks like and sounds like by changing the suffixes and prefixes of a noun. You can completely change the word.
Well, like we were saying, you know, anything about nouns is like they don't necessarily have to have something describing them, but like when you put like adjectives or stuff, you can almost like change like what they mean or like how they are in like a sentence, which is pretty dang neat in my book.
After students spend time looking at suffixes, we talk about them as a class. Navigating group discussion gets tricky and complicated quickly, but is always engaging and enlightening. How about ibble? All right, so response, responsible, can we pluralize that?
Responsibilities.
Yeah,
You have to add it.
Whoa, yeah. You just added another suffix. Can we say the responsible earned candy?
No.
Yeah.
It's an
Yeah,
adjective.
you
The
can.
responsible earned candy?
No.
Because you're referring to somebody.
Well, you could as
You
a
can
group, like
respond.
plural, like they're responsible, like as a group, like say they're responsible in this classroom, Candy.
Like the
yeah.
responsible ones got candy, but you're
Yeah,
not.
but they're responsible.
Those who were responsible got candy. That's what you mean, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you could also say as be responsible.
You can?
Yeah,
The
they're
responsible.
responsible of the group
Ah,
that came.
but you're
Of
adding.
the group.
Of the group.
So what you're
yeah,
doing
yeah.
is you guys are making shortcuts here, right? What's in your head and what you're saying are two different things. There's a word for that. It's called ellipsis, where you shorten what you're saying, but what you really mean to say is still inside your head.
Interesting.
It is interesting. So
Catherine?
when you guys just did that, right? You just said the responsible ones, or the ones that were responsible, the kids that were responsible. But the responsible is the shortened version. The responsible got the candy. That is a shortened version of the responsible ones, which to me means that it's not a noun. This is a good lesson to open up a series of lessons on syntax and morphology because it taps into students' intuition about language and it makes them become scientists of language rather than receivers of information. Language is complicated and there are no easy answers. And as soon as you think you can put an answer in a box and tie it up in a bow, it eludes you. And that's why I think it's so interesting. One thing I've learned about teaching grammar this way is I need to get used to saying, I don't know a lot. But I usually find an answer with a little help from a friendly linguist. I didn't break English, no!
I think English broke you.